welcome. My name is Carl DePrado, and I'm A to Z Business IT. And today I wanted to just talk to you about what the Oscars can teach us about cybersecurity and why it's so important. So, unless you've woken up from a coma in the last day or so, you've heard and you've seen the unfortunate incident probably multiple times where Will Smith stormed the stage and struck Chris Rock and then cursed at Chris. I'm not going to talk about the blame of who said what, who provoked what. In the end, it just doesn't matter for Will Smith because it's had a very negative impact on his life and his family and his career. And the incident went international within a few moments of it happening. I didn't even want to watch the Oscars. I wasn't planning on it. I didn't plan on seeing who was there. And I've seen this incident so many times, I've honestly lost count, more than I care to think about. And so this slap has taken over the fact that he won the Oscars. This should have been the night, should have been the greatest achievement of his life. And from now on, it'll always be focused on the bad decision that he made. This will haunt him for the rest of his life, no doubt. And it'll be one of the things that he's most remembered for. I mean, years after he's passed, they'll still be talking about this. It's also affected the Oscars indirectly, since they didn't have a plan in place for how to respond. I mean, their staff hadn't been trained on how to react to this type of event. They have unfortunately fallen under great criticism indirectly due to this. Both Will and the Oscars have been under public audit, which includes in Will's case, every joke that he's made, every slight or any cause that even the positive causes that he did that his actions went against now. There was a whole anti-bullying campaign that he did where he said, never use your fists. And there he was using his fists. And for the Oscars, now that's to look at why, one of the criticisms is, why it didn't respond to other awardees that have been convicted of much more than a slap, criminal doings in the past, such as Harvey Weinstein and Roman Polanski, things that they kind of would have hoped that would have gone away, So this type of audit brings up all the good and bad that happens in a life. And I'm not here to judge it. I'm just saying that it's just going to drudge up everything. And again, who needs that? So how does this relate to cybersecurity? Well, let's take Will Smith. Like him or not, up until the Oscar event, he had always been projected as a bankable image. And movie stars are to themselves, they're their own CEO of their own personal brand. It's a real business, each individual star. It's not, what you have to look at is that it's not unusual for a top, celebrity, at the height of their career to employ hundreds of people, from accountants to groundskeepers to image consultants to stylists to the attorneys, everything. There's nothing that these guys their whole image is under a microscope because it's so darn valuable. So to Will's point, he's under an incredible amount of pressure, just like a CEO or the owner of a business would be, maybe even more so. And I wouldn't be surprised to find out he had extensive training on what to do if provoked. I mean, paparazzis are constantly looking for something for them to make a mistake. So it isn't surprising that they're tightly wound. And on top of that, they got to sit front and center of the Oscars, meaning they're on a performance. They don't, in their performance is sitting, but they have to sit and be engaged because they never know when the camera's going to pan to them. And because of that poor decision, Will has done an incredible amount of harm to that brand. And that's hurt his business. His current projects that were in the planning stages have been postponed or dropped. The Williams family, who was the basis behind the movie that he won the Oscar for, along with a parade of celebrities, have come out against his action. And now there's unfortunately a cottage industry that is marketing and profiting from his fall from grace. So that has affected the public's trust to watch his movies and to be entertained. And in the Oscars case, they had been in a business that had been struggling. Award shows in general have been losing their popularity. They're just not as popular as they were in the past, and the Oscars have been significantly tarnished by this event. And honestly don't think anyone could have predicted Will's actions that night. There was no reason to thought that. But the Oscars probably should have been thinking about all types of contingencies and had some plans in there. I mean, there have been celebrities who have had outbursts at other award events, like Conway West when Taylor Swift won. And, they're staging a nationally televised live event. Security, I'm sure, has to be taken as a critical component of hosting such a show. So I'm surprised that somewhere along the line they didn't say what would happen if one of our, these guys who are under an incredible amount of pressure sort of loses it one night. They may never expected it, but they should have planned for that accordingly. But so what happens with the site, with this one event, we can apply these type of things as a warning for our own businesses. When a business suffers from a cyber attack, which can erode, it will erode the trust of their clients. And it can happen really quite suddenly, just like the slap. If, like the Oscar officials, you don't have a plan on how to quickly deal with such a breach, that bad, you can find your company can be at the root of a long, unfortunate audit, where they have to go through everything to see there, instead of having a plan in place. The only difference between Will's company and your company is Will didn't have to deal with Will's employees if they had misbehaved. Probably wasn't going to hurt his brand. Unfortunately, in the case of a cyber breach, even a lower level employee can cause incredible exposure that can really hurt the business. And that is why, training your staff to prevent and minimize security events is one of the key factors. The other ones are the companies need policies and procedures. And you got to keep in mind that information security is not a tech problem. It's a business issue that has to be dealt with at the business level. And so that's what I wanted to leave you with today is, just how suddenly things can happen and change for you. And that's probably the biggest lesson was there. And at the end, I hope that all the entities get back together and do something. But as we know, when it's better to have not had such an incident than to, it's hard to put the genie back in the bottle or the toothpaste back in the tube. We are doing a webinar on cybersecurity training and some of the things that you can do to implement to help train your staff to prevent such, high exposure issues. And we're happy to help you guys out with that. I've got a link for it below. Thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.